If right now you have a 680 or higher, no late payments, collections, charge-offs, and all three of your bureaus are clean, but you still keep getting denied, here's why that keeps happening. And nobody in the space is really talking about this. There are 4 agencies that are sitting completely outside the 3 big credit bureaus that you never gotten a letter from. And you probably never heard of their names, probably. But they are holding your bankruptcies, tax liens, judgments, evictions, probably what you ate, for lunch in high school. And they're selling all that data to the lenders every single time that you apply for personal or business funding. These industries show over almost 80% of major banks pretty much giving all the information about you, just giving up the whole drop. And that's 80%, which means the reason why you keep getting denied has nothing to do with your Equifax score, okay? It's way deeper than that. But don't worry, I'm going to be breaking all this down because in today's lesson, we're going to be going over the secret lenders and what they're actually giving and how you can avoid this so you can continue to get approved for everything that you're looking for. So what I want you to do is go grab your pen and paper. And without further ado, let's dive in. All right, ladies and gents, so most people think lenders look at 3 things when you apply for business credit cards or business lines of credit, and they think that it's just Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. And that's not always the case, depending on the bank, okay? When a bank is considering you for $50,000 or $100,000 in capital, they run pretty much a deeper check than just a standard credit pool. They're identifying your identity, of course, as you know, and they're cross-referencing public records. They are scanning for fraud, signals, and none of that information lives in the big 3, to be honest with you. Now, I just want to give you a disclaimer right here. The reason why I know this is because I've had 3 clients, that went through the whole process, had like a 720 credit score. Everything was clean. I made sure everything was there. Whole Cinderella profiles, I like to call it. When we applied for specific banks, these banks were asking for their LexisNexis, SageStream, ARS. They were asking for those files. And they kept saying that, it was frozen. We need to check this information. We need to make sure everything matches. And it didn't dawn on me. I was like, dang, I forgot that, those are a thing even when it comes to the business side. So we had to literally go back, reverse engineer, get all those records to make sure everything was clean and then provide it to those banks. And then they got approved. So that goes to show you how in depth these banks are going when it comes to getting you approved for any type of funding, okay? But I'll talk more about that in the video moving forward. So it's just something to think about. And since we're already on the topic of LexisNexis, let's go ahead and talk about them. That's bureau number 1. LexisNexis is the most important one of the entire list. LexisNexis is not a traditional credit bureau. It's a public record warehouse. And your LexisNexis file can hold pretty much anything that Equifax, Experian, TransUnion will never touch. Okay, so we're talking about prior bankruptcies, tax liens, judgments like I was talking about earlier, real estate ownership, history, evictions, things that happen in college, high school, you name it. I promise you, divorce records, they have they got the whole drop. I promise you, they have everything on you. And the most complete personal history that exists outside of the federal government. And LexisNexis powers the fraud and risk models for major banks, the same institutions that you're applying to for funding. But under the Fair Credit Reporting Act, when a lender goes to verify negative information, the burden of the proof is on them, not you. If they can't access the data, they can't use it to deny you for the most part. Okay, we all know different outliers out there, especially if you ever had to, repair your credit. If you know. But again, you have that legal right as a consumer to freeze your LexisNexis file. They don't promote that, but it is in your right. To freeze your LexisNexis, you go to consumer.risk.lexisnexis.com/freeze, or you can type in Google LexisNexis freeze and it'll take you there. And you can do it online. Or if you want to do it by mail, you can do that as well to their consumer center in Atlanta. Okay. And you're also entitled to a free annual credit report. But I'm gonna be honest with you, it kind of gives Vantage scores and it doesn't give all the information on that side when it comes to it. I would always say click the link below to try to get my free score now. That's probably going to be the best bet for you because you're going to see your actual scores and everything side by side. So it's super easy to read. Okay. But you can they'll get this free one and click through everything. But anyway, now here's actually the good news before we move on. Bureau number 2 used to be a separate company called SageStream. A lot of content out there tells you, to track them down separately, but that's outdated information. LexisNexis fully owns SageStream, and they absorb pretty much everything that they had. So when you freeze your LexisNexis file through the portal, it automatically freezes SageStream, pretty much freezes both. So, you kill 2 birds with 1 stone, okay? So you freeze that, and you could potentially move on. But I want to tell you this, just because you freeze these does not mean that the bureaus or anybody can still not access these. Okay, people try to make it seem like, you freeze these and then you're just free and clear. It doesn't work like that. There's still workarounds, but this does help, because if it didn't, I wouldn't be telling you. Now, with all this being said, freezing the bureaus, making sure that you don't have denials, whether it's on the personal or business side, this is a lot of things that I help a lot of my clients avoid when they sign up for the Everhart Capital Funding Program. So if you're a person right now with a 700 or better and you're trying to access $50,000 to $300,000 in total funding, then what I want you to do is click that link below to sign up for a capital consultation. We're helping all of our clients, again, move over to that next side so they can stop having LexisNexis, CoreLogic, whoever it is, or even if it's just the bank, stop you from getting denied. Because there's a lot of variables into it, and I promise you, with our right system, we've helped everybody get approved. So again, what I want you to do is click that link below and sign up right now. But enough about that. Let's get into the next section. Now, bureau number 3, we're talking about Innovis. Innovis is the 4th largest agency in the country, okay? Now, it is a part of the CBC company, and they're one of the silent ones. But certain lenders are absolutely running them. So credit unions specifically. Some credit card issuers, like auto lenders, landlords, and property managers, and debt collectors for identity. They pretty much look for all this for identity identification or verification, excuse me. Now, what that does for Innovis is that's pretty much what they hold. Account history, payment history, identity data, similar to the big 3, but their special superpower is the alternative data, utility payment history, telecom bills, and identity verification signals. So they don't produce a FICO score, but they do run a proprietary risk model. Here's where that can cause problems. If you have an old address tied to Innovis's file, a prior address, a relative's address, something that got mixed years ago, Innovis can generate a fraud flag. It's not as major as how I'm saying it, but just hear me out. With the fraud flag, it can get your application sometimes denied or trigger a full account review, even if your Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion are completely spotless. I don't always have to pull people's Innovises, but I just want to give it to you, just in case if you want to check it. We've seen clients get denied at new credit unions, specifically because of outdated information on Innovis's file. The big 3 looked perfect, but Innovis had a problem the whole time. So if you're getting unexplained denials and can't figure out the source, pull your Innovis report before anything else, okay? So one more thing also worth noting, as of late of 2025, Innovis is expanding into the mortgage industry. I didn't even know that. They're building a new mortgage and credit report product, which means that they're becoming more relevant and pretty much not less relevant than, I guess, over the next few years. So to freeze Innovis, just like the older ones, you go to Innovis.com, request a free report, and then you can do the security freeze right there. Or you can also call 1-800-540-2505 as in the making of this video. The freeze is free, the report is free. You can do both, and then you're good from there. Bureau number 4, we're talking about CoreLogic. Now, CoreLogic is what matters the most if you are in real estate or planning to use the real property, as a part of the capital strategy. So their product is called, I think it's called Credit IQ, and it's merged with your credit report. So they pull your Equifax and Experian and TransUnion, of course, all 3, and they combine them into one document. But then they layer it in their own proprietary data on top of that, okay? So what does that mean? That means that the proprietary layer is where it gets serious. Property ownership history, what else? Tax payment records, legal filings, on real property, evictions, child support, that's a big one, and debt collection lawsuits. So if you ever bought a home, you've seen CoreLogic report, okay? You just didn't know what it was. The mortgage companies use it kind of consistently. And if your CoreLogic file has a negative information, like judgments, unpaid property taxes, things like that, even if your standard credit profile looks great, there's probably going to be a problem. So pull your CoreLogic file before any lender does. So you're entitled, again, to all of these free copies. Ask for your free copy through the consumer portal, and then run across all of it, look at any issues to see if you have any problems. And then what you can do is, just pretty much for all of these, you can always file a complaint directly to them or through cfpb.gov, and that gets their attention relatively fast. So the freeze strategy is this: the exact order, when to lift, and when to refreeze. Now, when it comes to the freeze strategy, the exact order, this is what we're going to be talking about. Because I know some of you are like, do I need to unfreeze these when applying for business funding? Blah, blah, blah. Here's the definitive answer. So step one, again, pull all your reports before freezing anything if you want to. You're going to request your free consumer report from LexisNexis, Innovis, CoreLogic. Of course, LexisNexis is with SageStream. That's why I didn't say it. But you want to know what's on your file, before you freeze it. Look at the inaccurate data. Look at the wrong addresses, old public records. Those are disputable. So you need to know what's working with them first. With step two, we're going to freeze the secondary bureaus before you start any type of credit repair if you're still in that stage. But stay with me, because this part is the most important, and a lot of people kind of get this wrong. Most people start sending dispute letters to the big three, of course, and while leaving the secondary bureaus wide open. So here's what happens. The big three receive your dispute, they go to verify the negative item, and then they contact the secondary bureaus if they have to. And then the secondary bureau comes up with the data just like that, and then your dispute pretty much falls by the wayside. And that's what you don't want, because sometimes freezing it can help them not access the data. I'm not saying that they just 1000% can, but sometimes it can make it a little harder for them if they don't get it in time. So you definitely want to check all of this, because this is your legal right as a consumer to see what is going on, okay? Now with step three, again, freeze before business funding applications. Again, it's not super imperative to freeze them. You don't have to. I would just say check if you have applied and you got denied and you don't know the reason, okay? So if you have any derogatory history, bankruptcies, tax liens, anything, if you have a bankruptcy, you shouldn't be applying for no type of business funding, just telling you. But just go look and see what you can get from there. And then step four is where we're gonna lift a specific lender and what they require, and then refreeze immediately after. So a freeze does not, again, delete your file, it just blocks access. So if a specific lender tells you they cannot access your application because of one of these bureaus is frozen, and this doesn't happen, lift the freeze for that specific application and then submit. For example, like American Express, and then put the freeze back on the following day if you feel comfortable. Okay, so if you do all of these, I promise you won't run into any issues, moving forward. So now let's recap. When it comes to LexisNexis, the most critical secondary bureau on this list, public records, warehouse powers over 80% of the risk models. So you want to freeze those. And then also you don't have to worry about SageStream because they're intertwined into one. Innovis is the silent fourth CRA. Okay, it flags fraud, identity data, and expands into mortgages. You can always freeze those as well by calling that number. Now with CoreLogic, real estate, mortgage data layer, and then also sometimes when it comes to child support, it will definitely help you to check that out and then try to remove it. Okay, so if you freeze those bureaus first, then you won't have pretty much any issue when you try to go for any type of business or personal funding needs. Okay, if you have a prior bankruptcy, judgment, liens, tax, any of that, you need to get that removed no matter what. And if you've been disputing, with the big three and nothing's been sticking, then there's a good chance that nobody ever told you to pretty much freeze these. And if you freeze them, you might get somewhere else. So it's definitely something to look into. Now, with all that being said, I want to talk to two separate people. If you're a person right now and you want to freeze these, but you don't necessarily know how, and you also have bankruptcies, late payments, collections on your credit report, then what I want you to do is click that link below to sign up for a credit repair consultation. We're going to literally map out everything that's on your file, see what we need to do to remove it, and then move you on to the next section so we can help you get personal funding, business funding, or whatever you're trying to do. So if that interests you, click that link below. Now, for all of my people that have a 700 or better, but you keep getting denied for business or personal funding, I got you. Because what I want you to do is click that link below to sign up for a capital consultation. We're helping all individuals and business owners access $50,000 to $300,000 in capital by utilizing the right sequence, freezing secondary bureaus, and then also accessing reps to help you get the capital you need to actually start and scale your business or whatever you're trying to do. So if that works for you, click that link below again to sign up for a capital consultation. I want to thank you guys for stopping by. I really hope this kind of just really helps you. A lot of people always forget about this part. And if you don't, and you actually utilize it correctly, you won't have any denials moving forward. Again, I want to thank you guys for stopping by. And until next time, ladies and gentlemen.